Across LC with your hosts, Jeff Alsman and Cody Zitman.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the A2Z Across LC podcast. I'm Jeff Alsman. Cody Zitman is here. Cody, nice to see you. You had a busy weekend and a busy week in the athletics department here.
It's rolling.
Might as well talk about those things first. Congratulations to our men's and women's soccer teams, even though last weekend they were eliminated from postseason play with a couple of close losses, especially the women's game. Boy, it came right down to the wire, and exciting finish, ball bouncing off the crossbar, and that was wild, wasn't it?
It was a long Saturday.
Yeah,
we like the results to be different. We still got a chance at large. I know the coaches are putting in for that.
But still, great season, and just to be able to get that far is certainly commendable, and we congratulate all the coaches and the players that work so hard to get to that level, and it'd be nice to get that at-large bid, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
You played one of the best teams in the country, right down to the wire.
Look, here's the thing: is you can't ever be upset when two of your teams, right? We got eight clubs here at LC, and two of those teams, they're always knocking at the door to be perennial national tournament members, right? How do you argue with that?
Yeah,
the next step is literally going to the nationals every year,
and it might still happen this year.
100%, and that's where Coach Dunn and Coach Bernay are at with their program. Yep. So, and the kids should be proud of that. Also, I want to piggyback on what you just said. The support staff on Saturday were amazing. You guys were in the house. We took another step forward. We broadcast, right? So there's a lot of good things this year, especially when you're in year 3 of the retool, that we crossed some hurdles, I'd say, when we did that. So.
And now we're kicking right into basketball season.
Yes, we are.
It's going to be moving hot and heavy here as we get into the winter sports, even though they start a little bit pre-winter, but they're still the winter sports.
100%. Both clubs are going, and I know those guys are excited.
I want to talk about a couple of events before we move on and get into our first segment. Tomorrow night, we've got the Alton Godfrey Rotary Concert over in the auditorium there in Hathaway. That's always a hit and a great event. And there's a blood drive coming up, too, that people should know about on Monday the 10th. Lewis and Clark activities, student activities, taking care of that. That'll be in the Commons building. I'm going to mention the basketball game on Veterans Day. Of course, campus is closed, but we have the basketball game that evening. So it might be a neat way to kind of go out and celebrate after you've had your Veterans Day celebration. That'll be at 6 o'clock, a little bit earlier start for that one there in the Riverbend Arena. Then there's an event coming up on the 13th. I wanted to mention the Industrial Careers Open House down at LeClaire Room on the Nelson campus. A chance for folks. In fact, we just talked about that the last podcast, I think. But a chance to go and find out about a lot of trades and stuff like that that are going on. And then there's a Alton Youth Symphony concert on the 16th back in the Hathaway Theater as well. So a lot of the events are kicking into gear as well, and especially as we get towards the holiday, some of them are geared towards those. So good chance to come out to the school and just kind of look around and kind of
You're on your A game today. You get the list going. I don't think you stopped at the weekend, right? You broadcast.
You're
rolling into this week.
It's I'm a pro.
You are a pro. You are a pro. You keep it together.
I try to keep us all together.
Yes.
As much as I can.
In our podcast, I know you get fired up. We're coming to those holidays. That means me and you are dressing up, right?
We've got our holiday shows coming up. That's true. Those will be right around the corner as well. So those are always
Slim's favorite time of year with us.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, yeah, because you brought it. We had food last year, remember?
We did. We had
Thanksgiving dinner right here in the control room. So,
it was good.
Hey, why don't you take us out? So when we come back, we're going to talk about clean energy and the initiative that the state has to be totally clean energy-wise by 2050. Which, when you think about it, I probably won't see it, but it's not that far for when you really think about it. It's
right around the corner.
25 years, so maybe I will see it.
You'll see it.
I might be sitting right here still doing this.
We're gonna do this show.
Oh my goodness, I don't know if I can handle that.
We are.
LC A2Z.
What's up? It's Mike Keith. What's up, bro? What's good, my guy? Back to spotlight other amazing alumni and how they discovered their path at Lewis and Clark. Let's jump into it.
This is Libby Coots. Libby was a math major who graduated from Lewis and Clark in 2010. She's a math teacher and the girls golf coach at Edwardsville High School. She even has her LC diploma in her classroom and always tells her students how life-changing Lewis and Clark was for her.
I'm Libby Kuntz, and I'm a trailblazer.
Welcome back to the A to Z Across LC podcast, and we are joined in the studio by Richie Darling, who's the manager of the CEJA. That's hard to say sometimes if you haven't tried that. Workforce Hub. Now, what that stands for is it plays right along into the state's Climate and Equitable Jobs Act. That's what the CEJA stands for. And I'm going to let him tell us really what it is, but it plays right along with the state's initiative to be completely clean, 100% clean energy by 2050. And so down at the Scott Bibb Center, we have this workforce hub. And Richie, that's most of what I know about it. So welcome to the podcast and fill in all the gaps for us.
I will do that. And thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
CEJA, right? Climate and Equitable Jobs Act. It's more commonly called CEJA.
Oh, that would have been so much easier than all the letters.
A little easier to say.
Like CEJA later. You know.
Is that how we take ourselves out?
Yeah, we'll
today?
go out from the list. Yeah, there you go.
And you're absolutely right. It was a piece of bipartisan state legislation that was passed a few years back, and with basically a whole cadre of initiatives statewide that are going to be going on from now for the next foreseeable future, for the next 20 years, hopefully.
So the goals are, as I understand it, and I'm going to have my cheat sheet here just so everybody knows I'm not this smart. Support new renewable energy projects such as solar and wind, which is right down Richie's alley. Expand electrical vehicle use, increasing charging stations, all that sort of thing. Provide workforce training programs, which Richie's a big part of that as well. And then here's the part I also like is support communities that are going to be impacted by the shift away from fossil fuels, because we all know Illinois is a huge coal state. And so if that begins to go away, there seems to be some empathy or whatever for that, or some vision to how that impact could be lessened through some of the programs that you guys are doing. Is that pretty accurate?
That's exactly right. And that's what the E in CEJA stands for, equitable, right? And so one of the parts of the equitability mix is that a lot of our focus is going to be on areas that have been what we call climate justice regions. These are areas where industry was in and, like say some of the big coal plants and things like that, and then are left and sort of wrecked the environment and the local economy as they did. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to take those, and those are some of the communities that take priority, right?
So down at Scott Bibb, you walk into we call it the multi-purpose room because it's used for a lot of different things. One of the things it's used for is a classroom, and it has like a roof on the floor, and on the roof are ceiling panels. Tell us how that factors into the class that you guys have down there, where it's really like while you're standing on the floor, you're standing on a roof and learning how to install these panels, correct?
Sure. Yep. And our solar program is really our flagship program. That's the one that we got going the fastest, and that's one of our more popular ones. And we've got a wonderful solar instructor, Kyle Barber, who's just really cranking out the information and the trainees and putting them in the workforce, and we see them hired every day. So so there's over 14 hubs, right about 14 hubs set up all over the state, and we're one of them. And solar is one of the things that we teach at our hub. And in that big multipurpose room, you've seen that roof. We do a few days of hands-on training for our solar trainees to let them get their hands on the solar modules and actually learn how to attach them to roofs. That's part of the whole thing. We're going to train you how to put these on a residential roof so that you have done the installation, you know how to install it, you've had your hands on the gear, you're familiar with the techniques and the tools and all that, and so you are automatically a more desirable hire for a solar company who's just looking, some guy walking off the street who says, yeah, maybe I got a background in roofing, but have you ever, or a background in electricity, but do you know anything about DC? Have you ever handled solar modules before? Have you ever put them on a roof? So and our trainees can say, yes, we have helped install, a 7 kilowatt system on a roof. So
Now he's just showing off. I have no idea what he just said. The 7 kilowatts and all that kind of stuff.
well, I have a background in solar myself, so I did commercial, industrial, and residential installations for 5 years, and then I've been sort of on the academic side ever since.
So can you talk just intriguing in areas. So the towns where, let's just say, the old way of producing energy left them, is it literally just to target these companies and stuff like that to go in and say, I'm on a recruiting trip and I'm driving to Springfield and you see these massive solar farms? Is that a target for the town, or then is it also just a target as for how many roofs can we have solar on?
Wow, huge question. All the above. I mean, this legislation Illinois is leading the way in the country as far as this legislation goes, as far as the clean energy transition goes. So we've got the thing called the CEJA map, which has your eligibility requirements based on your climate justice regions, based on your R3 regions, which is renew, reinvest. And I can't remember the 3 that it is, but it's the CEJA map. If you just Google CEJA map, you'll get the Illinois map that shows all of the equitable regions, right? So as far as our workforce training goes, if you come and sign up for our workforce training, if you live in an area that's deemed a climate justice region, then you automatically qualify for our training, right? And it's not just free training that you go and get, which is a great, a great deal. This is a paid training. Okay, so we give you a stipend. So if you live in the Alton area, which is a big part of the climate justice region, then you can just come right in, sign up for our programs, start getting paid your stipend, and you get 5 weeks or 6 weeks of clean energy basics training, and then you get 5 weeks of solar that prepares you for the national exam that gives you national certification to work in solar. So
you do actually get an accreditation or a certification of some sort.
If you pass the test, you do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't pass the test, you still went through the training, and so you still get a CEJA training certificate.
Okay.
So, yep.
Are there other things besides solar? I mean, that's the one that's the easiest to see. It's obvious right there in the big room, but are there other programs that are also either up and running or are going to be very soon running?
Yes, both.
Okay.
Right now we have what's called the Climate Works program, which is a 7 weeks pre-apprenticeship program, which is like it's intro to construction trades, right? So you learn a little bit of framing, you learn a little bit of mudding and taping, you learn some insulation, a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of electrical over a 7 week period. It's what they call an MC3 accreditation, and then that puts you in line to go into the trades, right? So we're working with the Carpenters Union, we're working with the plumbers and pipe fitters. We just had a big career fair down at the Scott Bibb Center, and we had 5 different unions and 3 different other trade allies from the area. We also do HVAC training, which is teaching people how to work with heat pumps, do technician work, and they get their EPA 608 certification, so they're certified to work with refrigerants. They get their energy efficiency training, which is BSI, BAT, and BAP. So they get industry recognized certifications to put them above and just random person coming in off the street trying to get hired, right? They can come in and say, hey, I've got my OSHA, I've got my CPR training, I've got certification in these areas that are industry specific. And, it's really one of the best deals out there.
Very cool.
Yeah. And to get paid the whole time while you're doing it, that's kind of a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, it's almost like correct me, it's like apprenticeship. Like I'm immediately in, I'm hands-on, and now all of a sudden I have these certifications that I can present just to the workforce.
Yeah, and it's short and it's intense, right?
Yeah.
You're getting flooded with this information. You're being shown how to do these things and being introduced to these industries in a really pretty much about as fast as you can do it, and get into the industry and get hired.
So I want to ask you this one: how close? And maybe you don't have the answer, but how close is all of them coming together as a collaborative, just blend? Like imagine I'm set, I'm ready to build a house, and no more is, does it want to have solar panels on a roof? What if the house is just built with the solar on the roof? Are we anywhere in that thing? We have all these big initiatives and everything else to be clean, and really tell you the truth, no matter what you think, that it's the future across everywhere, the world. How close do you think just industries are just looking at that?
It's happening right now. I mean, there's no it's not like it's going to be happening in the near future. It's happening right now. We have a program through the CEJA network, but I mean, the CEJA is not just workforce training, right? CEJA is also, it has programs like Illinois Shines, Illinois Solar for All, which means like if you're a low-income person or you're from one of these climate justice neighborhoods or you live in an R3 district, you can apply through the state to get free solar on your roof because
You're in the region.
Because you're in the region, because it's the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act, right? Gotcha. If you're a nonprofit organization, you can apply through Illinois Shines to get free solar. If you're an educational institution, you can apply. There's a lot of different pathways. That's just the super small tip of the iceberg.
So last question before we let you go. You said something that was interesting. I'm not a handyman at all. So do you need to be somebody who wants to go into that career? Or you talked about the mudding and the taping and the framing and just things like that, to where if I needed something like that done around my house and I can't do it, if I went through your program, would I be eligible to do that, just to have the knowledge to kind of do that stuff on my own at some point? Or would I probably get kicked out because I'm not, I'm probably going to get kicked out either way, but.
We're looking for, and what you're speaking of is the Climate Works program. And with the Climate Works program, we're really looking for people who are ready to work, right? Mm-hmm. We're not necessarily looking for people who are trying to start their own business or just be handy around their own house. We're looking for people who are trying to go into the apprenticeship program of the trades or are ready to get hired by a company as soon as they get out, because, that's what we're looking for.
And you guys just had a graduation.
That's right. Yep.
How many folks were involved in that? Big class? Or?
We set up chairs for 100, and we had to break out a whole bunch of more chairs.
Oh,
so
wow.
I think we had like 125, counting the families and everything.
Sure.
But, I can't speak to the exact number of. I know we had one Climate Works cohort that was about 26 deep, and then our solar trainees, we had a cohort that was 14 solar, and we had HVAC. There was 7 HVAC trainees. So you can add those together.
Well, it sounds like
almost
things
60.
are off to a great start.
A successful program.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anybody that wants to sign up for the programs, I've got a flyer here, and I'll just tell you right now, Lucas from SSP, Senior Services Plus, they're a nonprofit in the area, and they are our outreach coordinators that we're partnering with as part of the CEJA Hub. And Lucas's number is 618-465-3298, extension 412, and he can get you hooked up with the solar or the HVAC. And if you're looking to get hooked up with the Climate Works pre-apprenticeship, Mr. Anthony Womack, who's one of the employees, a clean energy coordinator, and works at the Scott Bibb Center, and his number is 618-468-4138.
I think Lucas is calling you right now.
That might be.
I'll tell you what, I love how producer O has the sound effects right in when you're putting out the phone numbers.
He's got the lines
a shout out to you, man. Perfect. You were on it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Richie, thanks so much for coming in and sharing the information about the program. Continued success with it. And would you take us out to our next segment?
All right, we are
LC A2Z.
What's up? It's my kid. What's up, bro? Good, back to spotlight other amazing alumni and how they discovered their path at Lewis and Clark. Let's jump into it.
Chrissy Wiley and Alicia Boland. Yes, they are rock star dental pros and proud Lewis and Clark grads. LC didn't just give them an education, it launched their careers. And now they're back, teaching in the same labs where it all started, helping the next generation discover their path.
She's Chrissy Wiley.
And she's Alicia Boland.
And we are Trailblazers.
Welcome back to the A to Z Across LC podcast. We're going to turn our focus onto the athletics department now, and we're going to talk about several things, but one of the things we want to hit on is the off-season program for some of the students that aren't participating right now on the floor or the court or the field. We do, as you mentioned, mentioned earlier, have our basketball programs going, but the rest of the programs are at least in a semi-dormant mode.
Yep.
If there is such a thing. And we have with us Kayla Hartigan, who is our athletic trainer, and Dustin Duncan, who is our strength and conditioning coach. Welcome and welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So the first thing that, they came in and I said, hey, let's talk about the off-season program. They go, there's an off-season?
Exactly right.
I mean,
because there's like a transition. I thought it would be a good time to have them on, especially after that long. You were part of that Saturday, right? That was like 7 a.m. till like 8 at night.
And you guys were here the whole time.
And they're literally here almost the whole time.
Yeah.
And we talked about 8 teams going and everything else that's going. And now we're getting in that transition phase right out of it where like men and women's basketball are going. But it's almost like it doesn't stop. But I'd say, can I characterize it as maybe a little bit slower of a time?
You could say it's a little
It's
bit
a
of
jog.
breath-
It's not a
breath of
sprint.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air a little bit, but we stay busy.
We call it like crossover season.
Crossover. That's perfect.
'Cause it's-
That's
yeah.
why you're on this show right now. Crossover.
But crossover is usually, well, now that Saturday, we've had Saturday and it went off. Now it's like, now we can focus on basketball. But the crossover season's a struggle because it's just like we have everyone going at once and it all matters because it's like you have the start of the season, but now you have the end of the season of playoffs for everyone else. So it gets chaotic. But
And it's pretty much like, what do you say? I'd say we begin in that first week of August, and then by the second week, almost everybody's here. And every sport's going, even though it's off-season fall for some.
Because even the spring sports have a fall season.
100%. That's
everybody's
it.
playing
So
something.
I just thought, I don't know, just from their perspective of what that's like, bringing in from testing to, okay, well, here comes the injury bug, and here comes prep for work, and what after game stuff, all kinds. And they're finishing out a 2-month, 3-month, 2.5-month sprint. And that's how we start every year.
Yeah.
So,
but then we start a new sprint with basketball. So
yes,
then
we
it's
do.
kind of just
yeah,
keep going.
And then another sprint in spring when baseball, softball, golf starts.
Yep. And then we get another crossover season, and that's how you basically go through the entire year, which is why they probably say that, hey, is there ever an off season?
But there is a difference, or correct me if there's not. There is a difference from the athlete's approach to the amount of conditioning that's required during the season, as opposed to the 6 months off when they're not prepping for the real participation. I mean, are the diets different? Is the amount of work that they need to put in the gym different? Pardon me. Or is it not that much different? I'm not sure everybody knows. I'm not sure I know. It just seems like it ought to be different. I shouldn't have to do as much when I'm not involved every day or every other day in a game.
Yeah.
When the times when there's a little bit of downtime. But am I wrong in that?
No, I wouldn't say nutrition is necessarily different. Maybe they're going to eat a little less calories when they're out of season, just because when they're in season, they're already busy with weights and class and practice and then games on top of that. So they're obviously going to need more calories for that. But as in the weight room, it's actually going to be a lot different. In season, they're more training for, I guess you could say maintenance at that time, but they're also lifting heavier weights for a lot less reps, so it's just injury prevention for that. So all the gains that we gain in the off season doing hypertrophy training, and it's more sport specific, like explosiveness, plyometric, speed work, still lifting weights, but it's more specific to
targeted.
It's specific to what they need. Now off season, now that soccer is going to be, hopefully they still get potential bid to nationals. That's our goal. Then they'd still be considered in season. We'll still train them that way. But basketball just transitioned from hypertrophy training, that out of season training, to put on size and get bigger, faster, and stronger. Now that they're switching to in season, they're getting what soccer had. So they're lifting those heavier weights during in season. A lot less reps, but a lot more weight. So that's kind of that transition period of teams are always going to be training in season. Teams are always going to be training out of season. It's just how do we program them differently to suit their needs for what we need for them to be able to perform at their very best.
So Kayla, direct this one to you. So, we just got through a period where volleyball, men's and women's soccer all going at the same time. Soccer may still continue. But if it doesn't, do you get a chance to go like, whew, there's 30% of the folks that aren't going to get injured. I'm probably not going to be taping up all these folks now. Or is that not necessarily true? Some folks get injured during the off season when they're still doing their workouts and things. So is it constantly?
It's constant, but it's less. Now we have that time to recover and rest and figure out what we need to do for their injuries, essentially. And we don't have a timeline of like, we need them back by Thursday. What can we do? And, that intense pressure of, can we get them back in a certain timeline? Now it's like, okay, we get to relax. What are we missing here? Where are we? Do we need to do this? Do we need to go see doc? Do we need to, that kind of thing. So we can take that time to rest and recover fully and do rehab stuff and focus on muscle control and that kind of stuff, and get proper rest over, a couple days instead of, working through it.
So what's the game plan if we've got a soccer game going on, let's say at Glazebrook, and then very shortly after that, or maybe even let's say the same time, we've got volleyball going on campus. Cody, do you come in with the extra medical bag? Are you the plan B? You the backup guy, or what? How do you work all that?
Well, sure, yeah. Cody could be he's CPR certified, and all the coaches are, so they're good on that end for emergency stuff, and they obviously can call 911 and whatever. But
I wasn't thinking quite that drastic.
That's what I have to think, right?
Yeah.
But so at least that's covered. But injury wise, like Cody's not going to be running onto the court and taking care of injury stuff. Essentially, I have to go to the more high risk sport. So men's soccer is higher risk sport than volleyball because it's higher contact, higher running, and all that fun stuff. So I have to be at soccer, and volleyball is on their own for that second, and they'll survive. They'll get through it, and I'll see injuries later if need be. But ideally, we do have a second athletic trainer that's there, but at the moment, we just don't have that. So I have to choose the higher risk sport.
Our second athletic trainer is basically compliance team. That's why I wanted to bring these guys on today, was like how many people are just on site and going. And so every team, like Kayla obviously has the med kit, but we went to a whole nother level where the AED now is president. Every team, whether practice or not, every team has these things. And then on top of it, who's going to be there? So we game plan ahead of time. Hey, Kayla's going to be here. We're going to be here. We got to have eyes on it. What's the protocol as we go through? But it really is, there's a certain number of, I would say, like on our staff, that the number is 200 to 1. I mean, there's an AD that's 200 to 1. There's a trainer that's 200 to 1. There's a strength and conditioning coach that's 200 to 1. So when you get out into this transition period, it's literally like a step back of, whew, got through that one, right, as we prepare for the next one. And that's really why I wanted to bring these guys on. It was just the simple fact of there was a lot that just went into that doubleheader that last Saturday on everything that goes on.
And of course, doing the broadcasts, and I've seen soccer games, obviously, but maybe not quite that up close.
Yeah.
That's a rougher sport than it looks.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of, it's a lot of contact and
a lot of extra going on.
It's supposed to be a gentlemanly game, but that's not always the case, is it?
There's the flopping that kind of goes on.
Well, there is some.
That is true. There is a lot of that. Yeah. Half the time I don't move, and I'm like, nah, they're fine. Like, they're good.
So give me just one look into this day, because we talk about 201, and we talk about long days, and we talk about transfer. So when you get the onslaught, can you give us a view of your one-room training room? And then also yours, which is basically one room of weights and strength and conditioning and stuff, on what that day looks like one after another.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. So it's basically triage. It's just everyone, of course, always comes at once, right at the same hour, same time of day. So I literally have to be like, okay, this person needs this. Okay, you can go do that. And then I'm like, okay, this person has a new injury, so I have to look at them longer. So it takes you longer. So I kind of put you at the back of the line because I just have to. If I know that you can go and grab your heat for yourself, if you can grab your rehab sheet and go do it, go do that. And they can do it. So I don't even have to worry about talking to them. They just know what to do. And I basically just have to sit there and be like, okay, they're good. They need this. This needs to happen. And I just triage the whole scenario of what's going on. And I've gotten better at that over time. Yes, it gets very overstimulating because it's like, Kayla, Kalina. Like, it just, everyone's calling my name and saying all different kind of stuff. So it's just triage of who needs what and how fast can we get them in and out.
So don't come in when there's people in your office. Don't come in and ask you for a Band-Aid. Is that what you're saying? That's
pretty much.
Yeah.
Probably gonna get. Or
I'll be like, they're over
me
there.
Yeah.
And they are, because otherwise I don't want to.
I got you. I got you. Okay.
She just knows my ankle taping skills are pretty on point. So they're not that good.
Pretty sure I gave you like a 2 out of 10. I don't know.
There's room for work progress.
We'll work on it. There's work. Yeah, work to be done.
Yeah, my days are, now that we've changed things and we're within this retool within the program, we're having these standards for all of our athletes, which is what we've had for a while, but as they've changed and they've grown, when we're holding these athletes to higher standards. So obviously within the weight room, it's wear the right uniforms, make sure you do stuff correctly, you show up on time, you're here, you're present, you're working hard, you're giving me 110% every single time. That's what I'm looking for at first. So I see probably half our teams one day, half our teams on the other day, and they just come in, out of season teams are coming 3 times a week, and season teams are coming in twice a week. So I try to see them as much as possible while they're still maintaining their practice time and school time, what they have that they can get in with me. So Start up at 4:30, here by 5:30, getting them all ready and prepped. By 5:45, they start, warming up 5 minutes before their time. Then once they get in, we start getting into, the proper muscle warm-ups to getting them, okay, if we're doing chest, we need to warm up with chest and get everything. If we're doing legs, get our legs warmed up. So we'll use both the weight rooms. Shane's exercise science lab, he's been very gracious enough to let us use that lab and to incorporate that into our program to help with weightlifting, which is very nice. Cody has built us our weight room for strength and conditioning, which was amazing. To be able to give these athletes the room that they need, not only for here during school time, but also summer months when athletes are on campus. Then we have the gym. We have all our sleds and conditioning stuff out there. So if we need to do a power and explosive day, we'll use the sleds on one day. That's where we do all our plyometrics. We run our sprints out there. So we use everything that we have. It's not big area, right? But it's mighty. We have everything that we literally need to get these athletes working properly. And now that we've started all this testing, we've used our funds to get equipment to help with testing. We got we are Vertec, able to test their vertical. We're doing long jumps. We're doing backwards overhead throws. Everything that's going to be testing relative to their sport. And now we have Glazebrook that they let us use their fields for testing with men and women's soccer. So we have everything that we need here to be able to test. So that's typically what my day looks like.
So
for a while.
Are there studies that show that early morning is the best time to do that sort of work, or is it just it's the only time that's available, so you take advantage of it?
Usually there's a lot of different research out there. There's some research that says if you do it, you get more benefits out of doing it after practice, but there's also research that shows that mornings can be the best time. It all kind of just depends upon how the area you have, how much help you have. With me being by myself, and I do have interns here and there. It just kind of depends on who's either in that internship class at the time or who's coming. So sometimes it's just me, sometimes it's me and 2 others, and we're having those interns. So I'm trying to get them. So with the interns, they have busy schedules as well. So if they're students, more than likely they are, they're going to have to come in during the morning times to be able to get those hours in. And then they usually work in the evening. So that's just usually what I've always done. And it's, hormones, especially for men and women. There's research that shows that morning time's the highest for that. So that's why we typically do that in the morning as well.
Cody, you do your workouts in the morning too, right?
I tried to. 3 years ago, I did.
When you had time to work out. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the goal. Always. Got to, because there's just no other time. But I do agree with him. Like, I think that you're the freshest and everything in the morning to get the results and stuff. But that's just an AD not by the numbers telling you that.
But it's still experience.
It is experience. Yeah. That's always been I can't even imagine going out to a 3-hour practice and then all of a sudden knowing that on the back end of being on a baseball field, coming back in, like the grit, the stuff that's on you to try to do a workout that's probably another hour long.
That's why I always
some of that research shows, and obviously up to the coaches too. Like if they want their players fresh for that practice, then they're in season, they want them to be fresh for practice, and they can come out and not destroy their bodies, but they can get a hard enough workout after practice, but they want them fresh for practice.
That's why I always try to mow the lawn on the tractor in the morning. That's the best time for me.
I think a lot of things, just over all of that, like you'll hear this, and with my staff now, we're trying to look what's every specific to the student athlete and then also that sport. It's hard to get specific individually because just the support staff. Yeah, you need like a professional staff that has maybe 5, 6, 7 different coaches, right? So we're never going to get to that. But we're trying to think that way to where we can pivot in this one in different areas to get that, because every little second or every little extra that we can build is that little move of the compete level that we can be better on a Saturday for a long day.
Every little piece of advantage.
Yes, that's it. Which is why it's so exciting. Yeah. Which is why I wanted them on here again. This is exciting because this is how they think, and the last thing on their mind until after the fact is it's almost like that badge of honor that, hey, another 2.5 months and a long whatever went through that. That's nothing. So we laugh at those people that are on the other side that are just like, oh man, I had a long day. I put in my 7. 7? I wish I had a 7-hour day. You know what I mean?
Saturday was a long day.
But
Saturday was a long day.
Well, thanks for all you do, and thanks for being here, and thanks for taking care of all of our athletes. Continue to do that for us so the program will be as successful as it can be, from what you guys are able to contribute to that. And it's just nice to talk every once in a while and touch base and see how things are going on.
Thanks for having us and for the support.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Cody,
you.
you want to send us out?
Before I do, I want to say thank you, partner. Again,
Oh.
thanks for coming out. Thanks for broadcasting. That brought us to another level, and we all appreciate it. It did not go unnoticed.
Well, we try what we can, and we hope to keep getting better.
All right. We are
LC.
LC A to Z.